much. All right. All right. Thumbs up for the no beard look. All right. Thumbs down for the no beard look. All right. Whatever. It is what it is. All good things come to an end. The trilogy is over. Till next year. All right. So, uh, really quick, if I can get this to work for me. There we go. All right. So we already did this warm up. Okay. So it was 2 times 70, 2 times 35, 5 times 7. Pair of 2, loner 5, 7 is 2. Square root of 5 times 7 is 35. Whoa. All right. And then we did this one. It was 3 times 49, 7 times 7. Pair of 7, loner 3. That was our warm up. Y'all got a quiz Friday on this stuff. Okay. Let's talk about the notes. So y'all did this assignment, hopefully, right? Just now. If you didn't finish, make sure you finish. Turn it in as soon as you can. But here is our notes for now. Go ahead and write this down. Pythagorean theorem. Begin. Writing this down. Not playing games. Pull it out. Right here. Do it now. Do it now. Y'all remember doing Pythagorean theorem in middle school? Hopefully. We're going to remind you how to do this today. I'm going to give you like 1 more minute. Copy this down. About to move it. About to move it. Anyone still writing this down? Sheesh. Let me zoom out a little bit. So down, oh my gosh. Down here at the bottom, go ahead and box this, okay? The Pythagorean theorem from middle school that you learned is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Write that down. I mean, box that a squared, b squared, c squared, okay? Your ABCs. Please notice, A and B are always next to 90. You'll see this 90-degree angle? This whole unit is about right triangles. Triangles with a little square right angle, okay? So A and B can switch around. They can be next to 90, but C is always across from 90. And so a triangle like you and I has 2 legs, A and B next to 90, and then it has 1 hypotenuse. By the way, hypotenuse is with an E. It keeps cutting it off. Make sure you put hypotenuse with an E. And that's the C, the letter C is across from 90. It's called the hypotenuse. Okay. So underline this. A and B are the legs. The 2 legs are shorter. They're shorter than the third side, which is called C. The hypotenuse, which is the longest. Okay. This should all be stuff you know from middle school, but I'm going to show you how to do it anyways. So if you totally forgot it, you'll be totally all right. Are you ready? All right, you ready for example one? Here we go. Example one. Okay. What is the length of the hypotenuse? Well, does everyone see example one? Wait. So, example one. Do you see that it is a right triangle? Ah, we know something about a right triangle. If I know two sides, I can find this missing side. Go ahead and put an x there. I can solve for x if I use the Pythagorean theorem, which we just talked about, is a squared plus b squared equals c squared, right? The question is, what's a, what's b, what's c? Here's how you do this every time. If you got 90 degrees, next to it is a and b. Now, technically, you could switch a and b. A and b don't matter as long as they're next to 90. But what really matters is across from 90 is your c, okay? So let's substitute a, b, and c. A is 9 squared. B is 12 squared. C is missing. That's my x squared. So this is the big question. Can you solve this equation? And either way, I'm going to show you how to do it. 9 squared plus 12 squared. So here's what you can do. You can literally use your Desmos calculator to help you. Okay. Now it says 9 squared plus 12 squared. Y'all know how to do squareds, right? You can do 12 and then just 225, right? So you can square, like add those up, you get 225 on the left side of the equation. That's cool. And that equals x squared. So is that my final answer? Not if you have a squared. It needs to be x by itself. So here's the big question. How do I get rid of a square? What's the opposite of square? And it's what we learned yesterday and did today. Square root. Okay, the root of the square gets rid of the square, right? Square root. So I'm going to do it on this side to cancel out the 2. And if I do it on one side, I'm going to do it on the other. I need to know the square root of 225. Now, we learned what we learned yesterday for a reason. You're not just going to type this in and give me a decimal. I need to know what is the simplified radical form of 225. Okay? So guess what we're going to do? Factor tree. So 225. Does 2 go into 225? An odd number? No. Does 3 go into 225? Well, let's find out. 225 divided by 2, that's a decimal, no way. But if I divide by 3, I get 75. Okay, so 3 times 75 is 225. And then I can try to divide the 75 by 3, which you may not think about it, but it is. 75 divided by 3 is 25. Okay, so 3 times 25. And then does 3 go into 25? It does not. I hope you know already, just by looking at it, 25 is a square number. Okay, it was the top of our notes yesterday. What times itself is 25? 5 times 5, right? Now, this is one of those weird situations where you only have couples. And we said yesterday, if you only have couples, then your square root goes away. It's just 3 times 5, which is 15. Okay. Your missing side here was 15. Okay. Can we do that again on example 2? It's the same literal idea. I got 2 legs, A and B, next to 90. I'm missing C across from 90. So I'm just going to cut to the chase and go straight to the equation. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. A and B are 10 squared plus 6 squared equals X squared. You can type it into Desmos, or you might know the mental math. 10 squared is 100, 6 squared is 36. That's 136 equals X squared. Please remember, 136 is not the final answer. We need to get rid of the squared by doing the opposite, square root on both sides. What is the square root of 136? It's even. Let's divide it by 2. Half of 136 is 68. And that's even. Let's divide that by 2. 2 times 34. And that's even. Let's divide that by 2. 17. 17 is prime. Nothing goes into 17. So let's circle our pairs. Pair of 2. Loner 2, loner 17. No pairs, so I'm going to write my radical. The couple goes out to the left. Couple of 2. My 2 loners multiply on the inside. 2 times 17 is 34. These are examples when you're missing the longest side, the hypotenuse. But you got to know what to do when you're missing a leg. So if you got this down, flip it over. Example 3 is very important. Does anyone still need this? Okay, flip it over. Example 3. It tells us at the top what happens if you're missing a leg. All right, so if you're missing a leg, here's what you're going to do. I would like to label this. Here's my A, here's my B, and across from 90 is my C, right?
Is it okay if I put A or is?
A and B can switch because it's just whatever. But C has to be exactly across from 90. So if I fill in A, B, and C, A is 5 squared. B is missing. Let's call it X. X squared. C is 13, so 13 squared. Do you see that X is not always on the right-hand side of the equation? That's the most common error. People just like always put the two numbers they see as A and B. No. It depends what's missing, okay? Now, what is 5 squared and 13 squared? Let's start simplifying this thing. 5 squared, 13 squared. So this 5 squared is really 25. This 13 squared is really 169. So 25 plus x squared equals 169. Go and write that down. And then, this is the most important part. Is everyone locked in? If you want to solve for x, you cannot have this 25 on the same side. We need to get rid of a positive 25. What's the opposite of a positive 25? Subtraction. Minus 25 here, minus 25 here. Do you see the difference in this one than 1 and 2? If you're missing a leg, you got to subtract. That's basically it, okay? Come on in. So x squared equals 169 minus 125, I should say, is 144. And then your last step to get rid of a square is square root of 144. Now I'm going to save you some time. You could do this and do all the factor tree, but you're going to end up with 2, 2, and 3. Multiply those, you get 12. Because 12 times 12 is 144. It's another square number, okay? Okay, write that down. All right. You can learn message. Okay, I'm going to reply, or I'm going to get, let's say, they're inactive. Came out. But you need to cloud? Yeah. Then what the heck? You got time then already. What else are you doing? Working. Or how you got what to do with it. Tell me, then I'm like, oh, okay, you're busy. You don't tell me, I'm like, yeah, Ron's busy. Ron gets serious. Now, are you in? I don't think you did. Time for the remind? No. Remind, no. You did it homework, sign in, go to Google Classroom, and then in classwork, sign up for the remind. You get there, and it's there's still one. Right. Last thing we're going to do. Does everyone have this? So when you're missing a leg, you got to subtract, okay? All right, does no one else need this? Okay, so we're not going to do that example 4 at the bottom. So if you want to write skip there, okay, we'll save that for maybe tomorrow or another day. Okay, but here's what we're going to do. Can you tell me if these three numbers make a right triangle? Well, let's remember, we're still going to use Pythagorean theorem, a squared plus b squared equals c squared, right? But this time, we're going to use, it's more of a question, okay? When I have three numbers, does everyone remember? A and B are the smaller numbers. They're not always in the right order, okay? So look at this. What are the two smaller numbers here? Whoops. 12 and 16, right? So that's A and B. And then what's my C? 20, okay? So what you're going to do is plug those three numbers into the Pythagorean theorem. So A squared, so 12 squared, plus B squared, so 16 squared, equals with a question mark. Is it equal to C squared, 20 squared? Okay. We are going to find out using, Desmos to help us out. So what is 12 squared plus 16 squared? Let's find out. 12 squared plus 16 squared is 400. Holy moly. Whatever. And 20 squared is 400. So are they equal?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so since they're equal, that is yes, a right triangle. If a squared plus b squared equals c squared, yes, it's a right triangle. If it's no, well, it could be acute, obtuse, or none, okay? Let's try the next one. This is tricky. On the next example, what are the two smallest numbers here? If you just put A, B, and C, this is not B. 15 is the biggest number, right? So this is my C value. Okay. So here's my A, here's my B. Okay. Now, we're going to do A squared plus B squared equals C squared. So H squared plus, not this, 12 squared equals, question mark, 15 squared? Let's do some math. 8 squared plus 15 squared. Oh, sorry. 12 squared. And then what is 15 squared? Hey, are these equal?
Yeah.
No, sir. 208, 225. Not equal to 225. So that's a big old no. Okay. Do you get the idea how to do this? Okay. So I'm just going to give you. I'm going to give you, if you want to write down C and D, I am also going to give you the assignment, but we will have time tomorrow for it. Obviously, not much time today. But you finish writing those notes. Here's the assignment coming around. Don't lose it. Hold on to it. Keep it in your stuff till tomorrow. Cool. All right then.